Live from the tank on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet welcomes you into coverage of East Coast Conference women's basketball, streaming exclusively on Flow College. Tonight's conference matchup features the College of Staten Island Dolphins taking on the Spartans of St. Thomas Aquinas College. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, joined on the call by Nicholas Pavona, and this is the McDonald's pregame show. McDonald's is our scoreboard sponsor here at the College of Staten Island, and they bring you our pregame coverage ahead of every CSI Dolphins home game. And Nick, the Dolphins spent the weekend in Buffalo, where I got the chance to call their two games against D'Youville and Damon. The Dolphins knocked off the Saints on Friday behind a strong defensive effort, 49-38. However, they faced a nationally ranked Damon University team on Sunday and fell to the Wildcats by 26.
Yeah, Joe, and you know, at least for the Dolphins' sake, they were able to split those two matchups going into the past weekend. And you mentioned it, a much-needed win for this team after that last performance we saw here at the tank against Post. And you know, with that loss to Damon, the Dolphins still are in the hunt for the ECC standings right now. They entered tonight's matchup tied for fifth place with this stacked team. So at the end of the night, one of these two teams will have sole possession of fifth place. And as you and I both know, the top six teams make it into the East Coast Conference tournament at the end of the season. And it's really a big matchup for these two because obviously with that 1 point being one team will be in fifth place. But with only 11 games left for each side, time's ticking for these two teams to try to make some ground in the standings, whether they want to be a top 5, 6, or just getting a little bit more further up into the standings. So a big matchup for these two teams tonight, and you don't want to open the door with a loss. Whoever loses this game opens the door for the other conference members that are on the outside looking in, trying to take that last spot in the ECC standings.
And something else that is an important part of this matchup, Nick, is that if the Dolphins were to lose this game, they fall to 0-2 against Stack. And that's problematic, of course, when it comes to tiebreakers at the end of the season. That's something to keep in mind as well. But the Dolphins snapped a 2-game skid at D'Youville on Friday behind strong defense, and they once again struggled from the field against the Saints in that victory. They were a bit better shooting the ball against the Wildcats on Sunday, but Damon shot nearly 50% from the field in the win over the Dolphins. What needs to happen for the Dolphins to get back on track at both ends of the floor?
I think it comes down to this, Joe. The Dolphins need to play to their style of play, which I think in layman's terms is, fighting for those rebounds, being physical inside the paint, forcing turnovers on the defensive end, which has been a really big part of this Dolphins defense this season. And I think another thing also for them is finding those outside shots to finally go in on the outside mark. It hasn't been the best season for them shooting from the arc, but when they get those long-range twos, the Dolphins most of the time do make those twos. So if they get those shot opportunities, if they make the most of them, that puts the Spartans at a big disadvantage in this game. You look at all three of these are factored into the Dolphins' win against the Saints this past weekend. And in the game against Damon, the really big reason why they lost the game in the fashion that they lost to was points in the paint, which was a big number for the Wildcats in that game. But the Dolphins also turned the ball over 21 times. So a problem for CSI is, yes, they're forcing turnovers on the defensive end, but on the offensive end, they're allowing a lot of turnovers. So they need to make sure they limit those turnovers, and if they can crash inside the paint and avoid giving up those points and rebounds, they have a great chance to win this game, at least split the matchup with the Spartans this season, and go into fifth place in the standings.
Well, as we've mentioned already, these two teams met earlier this year in Spark Hill, with the Spartans knocking off the Dolphins by 4. And in that game, the Spartans outshot the Dolphins both from the field and from beyond the arc. However, CSI was dominant on the glass in that game. Ultimately, it was a rough third quarter for the Dolphins in that defeat as they scored just 4 points. But despite that, it was certainly a game the team could have won regardless. What did CSI do well in their visit to Spark Hill, and how can they approach their second meeting with the Spartans tonight to come away with the win?
Well, what they did really well, Joe, was you mentioned the rebounding numbers in that game. They won the rebound battle 41-30, so that's something that they could take a big takeaway in that game. But the one thing that is another factor, which we mentioned before, is the turnover margin for that game was 19-14 in favor of the Spartans. So Stack wins that battle. That allowed a couple points, and you never know when it comes to turnover battles. If you lose by 5, that might result in those 4 points that CSI lost at the end of the day. But you mentioned that third quarter, and that was really the big difference of this game. There was a combined 13 points in that third quarter between the two sides. You look at CSI shooting in that quarter; they were 1 of 12 from the field, 0 of 4 from the three-point line. But the biggest number, Joe, that I think was the biggest factor was also 2 of 8 from the free throw line. 6 missed free throws, 11 missed shots. They weren't able to make a 3. That's the difference of this game because Stack, on the other hand, despite shooting 3 of 12 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 2 of 4 from the free throw line. So for CSI, got to capitalize on those opportunities at the free throw line. Make sure that they can take advantage of Stack's poor shooting this time around if it does happen. If CSI gets that done, the result will change this time around.
Well, I've said it all year, Nick. When this Dolphins team struggles to shoot the ball, one way they can remedy that is get to the free throw line. They have players who can get to the line, are capable of drawing contact, and when they hit their free throws, they're a different team. But for now, we'll shift our focus over to Stack. They come in just 4-12 on the year, including the win over the Dolphins, but they have won 2 out of their last 4 games coming into the night. They also have a long history of success against this Dolphins team, winning every meeting with CSI from 2022 through 2024. The Dolphins did sweep the season series last year, but how can the Spartans counter with a sweep this year against the Dolphins here on the road as they look to make it back-to-back wins?
Well, I think it's simple, Joe. It's something I pointed out before. You have to keep pressure on the Dolphins and force those turnovers, which have really hurt the Dolphins and a lot of their losses this season. And with the Dolphins' struggles to shoot from the outside mark, if Stack is able to make a couple of big threes in this game, that's really going to put the Dolphins at a disadvantage because CSI not being able to shoot the 3 as well as Stack potentially does in this game will force the Dolphins to really have to go quick on the other side of the court and try to get points. And something also that was a big factor in that last game, Joe, was the bench points as well for the Spartans in that game. That was something that is well noted. That is a big reason why Stack got the victory in that matchup. So if CSI is going to have a chance in this one, they got to make sure that they can capitalize with their bench points as well. But for the Spartans, I think the biggest factors, force the turnovers on the defensive side, and on the offensive side, make your shots from the outside arc.
As we close in on tip-off, we will step aside for a quick break right here. When we come back, we take a look at Friday's CSI win over D'Youville University. That's coming up next here on the McDonald's pregame show. Joe Foreman back with you alongside Nicholas Bavona here on CSI Sportsnet. And as promised, before we stepped aside for break, we will take a look back at Friday night's Dolphins win as they knocked off D'Youville University, the first of 2 games that the Dolphins played this weekend.
Yeah, Joe, a big win for the Dolphins in that game. Nice jump shot right there. Misses, but good offensive rebound. And the putback right there for the Dolphins gives them the early lead in that game.
Edmonds with 2 early points. How about 2 more, this time from the mid-range? Given space at the free throw line, you can't leave her open from there.
You certainly can't give Kyra Rose an opportunity of a layup as well. Gets the pass, give and go, and gets the lay-in right there.
And Jasani Francis Torres had some good moments off the bench in this game. This was one of them. She's able to snatch away that loose ball off the Saints' rebound and lay it up and in.
Big 3 right here for Dana Phelan. Something the Dolphins haven't been able to see a lot this season. They're hoping that she can pick it up as conference play comes down to a wind again.
Well, it looked like her shot might be beginning to return in that game as you get a look at Rose with the rebound and the putback.
Big job right there by Rose, and then the mid-range jumper by Edmonds.
Loose ball here, scooped up by Kyra Rose, and Rose able to take it all the way inside through contact. She converts.
This is the mid-range jumper.
Yeah, it looks like
got just a little bit off.
Notes may have been just a bit out of order as Raki Kane knocks down another Dolphins mid-range shot.
And how about a mid-range shot? Long 2 right there for Phelan. She knocks it down.
Phelan did some good things offensively in that game. Scoring, we've seen Coach Sarcone happy with the way she's moved the ball as both Rose and Phelan knock down jumpers.
Another big 3 right there by Dana Phelan. Then a couple of mid-range jumpers right here from Raki Kane. Knocks that one down. And then we'll see right there Rose gets that lay-in.
I believe that was Kane underneath with the rebound and the putback. I think I see where our notes had the mistake, Nick, as Barnes is able to finish on the drive. And then how about that shot? The dagger, a baseline pull-up over the double team, and the Dolphins win at D'Youville in Buffalo. Starting lineups have just been introduced out on the floor. Nick, you have the starting lineups for both teams.
We'll start with the Spartans. So St. Thomas Aquinas, number 1, as Abby Jacoby. Number 2, Bailey Chapman. Number 20, Delaney Finnegan. Number 21, Cassidy Mahaney. And rounding out the lineup is number 24, Yona Kabashi. Excuse me, Joe. Had to try and make sure. The pronunciation guide is on the back, so I had to keep flipping back and forth for that one.
I think I say it every year, and I'm going to say it again.
Very extensive.
Brad does a great job with the pronunciation guide. However, it is upside down if you turn the paper over.
Yes.
So you're doing a very unnatural...
Yona Kabashi, excuse me.
A very unnatural rotation of the paperwork in front of us. But
Anyway, the starting line for the Dolphins, number 1, Stitchy Barnes, number 3, Shunye Edmonds, number 4, Kyra Rose, number 5, Racky Kane, and number 10, Dana Phelan.
Typical starting 5 for the Dolphins here tonight. CSI just 2-6 here at the Tank. They're 4-4 on the road this season. Kabashi will jump against Racky Kane to get us started from the College of Staten Island. And Nick, as I mentioned going into the break, we had a graphical issue. I can immediately see the difference in text in the graphic from the updated format.
I'm going to point a note out to you. It's still good on your monitor, but it's kind of glitching on my laptop. It's still working, but it's showing some glitches here.
Yeah, it appears that with the update, the graphics are giving us some problems. So what I would do, Nick, any graphics you have in the timeline that are not new, get rid of those.
Okay.
And we'll bring them in as needed.
I'll have to take the scoreboard off for the moment because we also have the wrong time on that scoreboard. So let me fix that in the meantime.
All right, on the reboot, we'll have to get it matched up with our scoreboard. But we are underway from the Tank. Spartans control the opening tip. They have 13 to shoot. And the game's first shot, no good off back iron. Rebound tipped away by Edmonds, and she secures it along the baseline.
The Dolphins would certainly love a nice hot start to this game, Joe. We've seen a couple times this season them trying to get into a nice start to the game, but it's been an on and off issue for them this season.
Stitchy Barnes with it on the wing, swings it to Phelan. Now Rose looks to drive baseline, met with a double, gets it to Edmonds. Edmonds over 2 Spartans, comes up short. And the rebound was pulled in by Chapman.
Not an easy shot for Edmonds right there, having to go up against 2 defenders and just got it off of that front rim.
Yeah, it looks like the graphics are definitely giving us a problem.
Yeah.
So, like I said, Nick, anything in the timeline that is not updated, get that out of there.
Okay.
As Barnes snatches in that rebound off another Spartans miss. Dolphins work it around the outside. This is Kane, just beyond the free throw line. Out to Rose, now Phelan. Back inside for Rose, facing up with 12 to shoot. She's trapped underneath and fouled. Yeah, so Nick, any graphic that's in the broadcast that is not recently imported, we'll get those out of there. You don't have to re-import them.
Yeah, I'm just looking at which ones maybe had an update or not that might need it at one point. So
yeah, I've never seen this issue before, but at the very least, it's not affecting our live output. Difficult to engineer, though, when the monitor is completely frozen.
We'll see if that was the one. It was our break board. That's one of the ones that needs an update.
Yeah.
As of now, it looks...
The image overlay is still up there, Nick. It could be that as well.
That's the wrong graphic.
We'll hear from Coach Sarko.
We will hear from her at halftime.
As Kyra Rose puts the Dolphins on the board, going 1 for 2 at the line.
That might also be a graphic that might need an update.
If we're not using it right now, get it out of there.
Yeah.
We'll update them as we go. So I'd say take everything out except for the scoreboard.
I just have the scoreboard and the Flow logo. That's it.
Well, it looks like you're still frozen.
I'm still frozen.
So get that Flow logo off and then re-import image overlay. That immediately fixed it, didn't it?
We'll see.
It looks like that fixed it. So, Nick, re-import the image overlay and then put the Flow logo back because I know I'll be getting a message if that logo is not there.
Yes.
Dolphins called for a moving screen. It's interesting as well that this issue only started about 15 minutes into the pregame.
Yeah.
We did not have this issue during setup. You and I were here. I was here almost 2 hours before we went live. Just over 8 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Only 1 point between the two teams. Dolphins lead at 1-0. Kabashi inside, and Chapman is able to finish off glass to get the Spartans on the board for the first time. Stack in front, 2-1. This is Phelan. Jacoby defending. Now Edmonds on the wing. Back up top to Phelan. Rose with room. Travel.
Now, Joe, would you remember what the measurements were for the logo?
Ooh, I think you have to position it top right. I don't think there were measurements that we used. I think it was positioning. I think you have to change the setting to watermark and then make it top right.
Okay.
Jacoby with it, feeding Kabashi, and she travels. So the two teams trading turnovers as the Dolphins get it back with 7:31 to play in the quarter.
Let's see if this works.
That image overlay is giving you problems.
Yep.
It could be the file. Failing for 3. And that's off the front rim, no good. Rebounded by Chapman.
I'll deal with it for now, but it's fine.
Well, it could back up the stream and knock us offline, so I think you have to take it down. If the flow image is stopping the stream, it has to come down, and then we'll work on it later. That's definitely the problem.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
All right, so it's probably the file. I'll get a new file from the shared folder online. Open in the corner is Mahaney. No good off the back rim and rebounded by Phelan.
Almost 3 minutes into the action, and I've missed a good portion of it, Joe, unfortunately.
Well, when you have a third member of the crew, it's their job, but unfortunately you're doubling as the color commentator.
Well, I didn't have to miss that one right there by Rocky Kane. She knocks down that 3, gives the Dolphins back the lead.
And I think personally that it's game-changing for Rocky Kane if she can knock down 3-pointers. And once again, the Spartans turn it over.
Something we've also seen from this team this year, Joe, is how quickly they go up the court. You see right here, good pass. Barnes is eventually going to pass it up to Kane, and they just left her wide open at that 3-point line.
Dolphins in front by a pair. Spartans now with 3 turnovers. The Dolphins with 2. Deep 2 from Kane, and that is good.
Kane off to a nice start in this game. Knocks out another jump shot right there. And it's one of the last 5 for CSI.
Kane turned the net inside out with a 3-pointer, corrects it with that last make, and the Dolphins have forced another turnover.
This is the type of the game CSI really needed early on. Forcing turnovers, knocked down some early jump shots. And a foul called right there.
Dolphins off to a nice start defensively. I mentioned how they played well at that end of the floor against Deauville. Didn't shoot it well, but against Damon, the Wildcats offense just proved too much. CSI was very much in the game through the first 20 minutes, and late in the first half, Damon began to pull away, and Dolphins never really recovered. Off the inbound, the Dolphins left with 16 to shoot. This is Rose, cross court for Weesey. That's the second open look she's passed up. Now Rose from the mid-range will try, and she rattles in the jumper.
Hey, Joe, what I'm really liking early on from this team is that they're moving the ball around very efficiently, and they're finding the open shots. That one wasn't as open for Kyra Rose, but she took advantage of the little space that she had right there.
Inside, that is Chapman off the mark, and here comes Rose the other way. Dolphins once again work it around the outside. Rose entry pass for Kane. And she backs Chapman right in, but good help defense from Kabashi forces the turnover.
Big turnover right there forced by Sack, and an early slow start for them, looking for some points on this other end.
Dolphins lead it by 6. Off the crossover, Finnegan gets inside, spins, and gets it to go.
That's good post movement right there by Finnegan, getting those points right there inside of the paint. A nice spin move to finish it off.
Nice move there by Finnegan. Kane in the corner. Out to Barnes. Barnes looking, cross court, failing. No good. Here come the Spartans back the other way. Up top, Finnegan. Dribbles to her right, kicks out to Jacoby. She drives the baseline, gets inside, but the reverse won't go. And Weesey has the rebound.
And she arguably rushed that shot right there, Joe. She had a wide open look underneath, but I think she felt the presence of Weesey right behind, and she forced that shot up just a little bit or too early on that one.
Phelan. Back to Barnes. Barnes looks to drive, and her floater won't go.
Barnes maybe looking for an and one call right there, but no call whatsoever.
Dolphins almost forced another turnover. Instead, it is an open 3 for Jacoby.
And a nice little bounce right there by Jacoby. What knocks down that open 3, and you mentioned it, the Dolphins at one point looked like they were about to force a turnover, and it leads to a wide open 3 for Stack.
Barnes on the wing. Now Rose on the drive, kicks out to Weesey. Deep 2, way off. And the Spartans have it out in transition. Spartans made some early changes, among them Tony Schutza checked into the game. She wears number 30. This is Jacoby on the wing, looking to drive once again. Good defense from Weesey. And a deep 3 is good from Schutza.
She certainly knocked that one down from long range. A big shot. Did not put Stack up 2. A couple big 3s right there for the Spartans in the last 2 possessions.
Quick turnaround for Stack. They've turned the 6-point deficit they faced early into a 2-point advantage as Kane draws the foul.
And some of the keys I had to this game were, for Stack, finding a way to get those out mid-range shots, whether it be from the outside mark or from the mid-range, and they've been knocking them down so far. And for CSI, on the other end, they've been trying to force the ball inside of the paint the last couple possessions, as Kane got fouled before that media timeout, and when we come back from the media timeout, Joe, she'll go to the free throw line.
2:27 to go in the first quarter. A late media timeout for us, and a quick break as the Dolphins now trail 10-8. Racky Kane to the line for CSI and a chance to get her team even. First free throw no good, and boy was it quiet ahead of that free throw.
Very quiet. Well, Joe, we talked about it. There is so much importance to this game for these two teams, and realistically, this is probably the biggest doubleheader of the entire season for both of these teams, because even for the men's side, we'll talk about this later on, but that game, how about the implications in that matchup as well?
We'll talk a bit more about that later, but Nick, I said it last week. I think the Dolphins' chances of a top 2 seed ride very much on tonight's result. If you go 0-2 against Stack, it is going to be very, very difficult to earn a top 2 seed, but we'll see if they can pull it off.
And for this matchup as well, it comes down to who you want to face also in the playoffs, because when you're the 5 or the 6 seed, you're in a position where you're the 5 seed, you're facing the 1 seed potentially if you get the win in the first round. But if you're the 6 seed, you get a win against the 3 seed, then you're facing the 2 seed in the second round. So that's also a factor for these two teams. But we have to see how the season plays out. A loss for either side in this matchup is going to provide an outside opportunity for the other teams on the outside looking in.
And Schutza gets the roll on the step back. She's off to a nice start off the bench. But I said it before, Nick, if you fall to 0-2 against any conference opponent, that really hurts because it guarantees them a tiebreaker over you. And if you're one of those teams competing for a 4, 5, and 6 spot late in the season, that can have major bearing over whether or not you make the playoffs. It could be the difference.
Right.
Dolphins with 5 to shoot now. Weesey on the drive, gets tied up, finds room, and can't get the floater to go.
Pretty much
throwing up.
Yeah.
Cheatham's long pass does not connect with Morrell.
Speaking of throwing it up.
Yeah. Nick, I have to admit, I'm a bit distracted. I need our live stats. I can't get on the internet.
I do have it on the back end of mine, worst case. But I'm not sure how I have it. You can.
Well, I can't get on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
It's just kicked me off the network. Tough to call a game with no live stats.
Yeah.
This is Kane in the corner. Picks up her dribble, kicks out to Isi. Now Ditto on the drive, gets the bounce.
Yeah, got a nice little friendly bounce right there. How about Ditto on the drive there, Joe? We see a lot of her outside shots this season, but makes a nice move to the basket right there. Under a minute to go in the first quarter.
That media timeout came in very late. As Nyla Davis went down, that freed up Chapman, who can't hit. Davis secures it and gets it to Barnes.
The Dolphins go 2 for 1 potentially.
They're about out of time. That opportunity goes by the wayside. Now 15 to shoot. Ditto for Kane. Kane looking to back in. Strong move by Kane off the window.
And look at how much physicality she used on that play, Joe, to get inside the paint. Throws it off the glass. It gets the nice bounce off of that box. A big shot right there to tie the game.
4 seconds on the clock. Schutze kicks out. That will count. No good on the attempt by Mahaney from deep. And that will bring us to the end of one from the tank. Our score through 10 minutes. Dolphins 12 and the Spartans 12 as you get one more look at Racky Kane backing in and putting one in off the window. We're all knotted up after the first quarter. We'll be right back here on CSI Sportsnet. And we're back for the start of the second quarter from the College of Staten Island. Dolphins and the Spartans knotted up at 12. CSI got off to a good start, Nick. They led at 8-2. Spartans end the quarter on a 10-4 run, and we're even at the start of the second.
And look at the stats for that game. At the end of the quarter, Joe, looking at it right now, 5 of 12 for the Spartans in that first quarter. Dolphins 5 of 11 in that first quarter. So not much of a difference right there. 2 of 3 for the 3, 1 of 3 for the 3 for the Dolphins, so not much of a difference there. The only difference really is the points on the bench so far in favor of the Spartans. And you look at the turnovers as well. That's something that the Dolphins have been doing a good job so far of. Right now they're winning that battle 5-3.
Well, I'm glad you can look at the stats, Nick.
I just wanted to keep you informed.
I appreciate that, but I would like to get on the campus Wi-Fi.
That would help.
Dolphins with just 2 to shoot. Davis for Barnes. Air ball. And that probably works in the Dolphins' favor as it denies the Spartans a transition opportunity.
You've seen 1 or 2 of those type of passes in playing 2K before?
Well, I thought you were going to say that I've made 1 or 2 of those in my day. On the drive, that was Jacoby, and she finds Schutze wide open for 3.
Another 3 for her now, Joe. She's got 8 points off the bench as she's came in. She's been off to a red-hot start.
I think it's clear the Dolphins can't afford to leave her open. Down she goes there. Barnes finds the cutting Davis, but she can't convert on the lay-in.
Yeah, Davis might have put a little bit too much on that shot right there. Had a wide open look on that floater.
Yeah, I think she probably could have gotten even a bit closer than she did. Thinking about the 3 was Jacoby, not once but twice. Spartans work it around the outside. This is Schutze up top for Mahaney. Now Chapman on the pull-up. Knocks it down.
Nice shot right there. by Chapman. And now the Spartans, up to a nice start this second quarter, they made their first couple shots, now lead by 5.
Barnes with it, defended by Schutze. They get the switch with Chapman. Cross-court pass to Davis. Now Rose, back out to Davis, 10 to shoot. Barnes, 5 on the shot clock. Her jumper on the way, and it's way short.
Yeah, look like that was another one where it was kind of forced on because of the shot clock. And early on in this quarter, Joe, the Dolphins have been using a lot of time on their possessions so far. They've very much almost had a shot clock violation to start off. Almost one right there, but the ball went out of bounds with just a second left on the clock. So not the best start to the second quarter for CSI.
You know what, Nick? I think the campus Wi-Fi is down right now. I'm off it on my phone as well.
And right there, Jacoby gets the lay-in, but yeah, it probably is.
Well, I won't mention the Wi-Fi again, but I've lost my connection across all devices, so no live stats for me.
I'll try to keep us informed.
We'll have to get the pen and paper going.
Yeah.
This is Rose.
You could have Lou maybe print out the sheets.
I'm going to have to head over at the media timeouts.
Yeah.
Barnes.
Good thing there's only one.
Out to Rose. She's doubled. Barnes left open. Knocks it down.
And how about that give and go right there between Barnes and Rose? Good job right there to create the space from Rose and leaves Barnes wide open for a long two.
Dolphins back to within 5. Jacoby in the corner. Travel.
Almost forcing the turnover right there. And you'll see right here the nice little give and go between Rose and Barnes. Barnes, as you see Rose right here, goes inside the paint. They force the double team, and Barnes left wide open with that long range two. Puts the Dolphins back within 5.
Gemma Singer will check in for the Dolphins here. 5 out for CSI. Singer, Ditto, Rose, Edmonds, and Phelan. Edmonds checked out pretty early in this one. She gets to work quickly here, and we'll head to the free throw line. Edmonds to the line here with the Dolphins trailing by 5 as the Spartans made some changes as well. And her free throw bounces in. Out there for the Spartans, Jacoby, Chapman, Finnegan, Schutze, and Mahaney. 4 of the 5 starters as Edmonds goes 1 of 2 from the line. Ball was last touched by the Dolphins underneath.
Dolphins now 1 of 4 after that last missed free throw. If it's not updated, maybe it should be 2 of 5. They'll update it at some point.
Well, Nick, I'm guessing that they're having internet problems. I'm trying to find out right now.
Yeah.
Spartans with it. 10 on the shot clock. This is Chapman, defended by Singer. She swings it to Schutze for 3. And she nearly banked it in. Big rebound there by Phelan. Here comes Rose. Out to Ditto for 3. Splash.
Well, the Dolphins had the numbers. They took advantage of those numbers. It's Ditto from the outside arc.
It's a GD3 to pull the Dolphins to within 1. Schutze will look to drive this time. And that's an air ball.
A chance now for the Dolphins to regain the lead.
Singer. Entry pass for Rose. She looks to back in. Size advantage over Jacoby, and she lost the ball.
She was looking for a foul call, but they'll get the ball right back.
Dolphins will keep it along the baseline.
Yeah, second look. Great rebound right there, as you mentioned, by Phelan. Passes it up, and then Dolphins taking advantage of the numbers as Rose finds Ditto for the wide open 3.
We approach the midway point here in the second with the Dolphins trailing by 1. There's a nice feed for Edmonds, but she couldn't secure it. Dolphins turn it over.
And had she had to secure it, she did have a wide open 3 for Ditto again. So I've had a great opportunity to get another one right there.
Chapman on the drive to her left, and she is rejected.
If they push again, they got the numbers.
There's a nice outlet to Rose. Rose to the basket, lays it in.
And Joe, she immediately had the disadvantage, or I should say the advantage on the size right there with Jacoby, and took advantage of it fully. And CSI now has the lead.
Dolphins by 1. Just over 5 minutes to play in the first half. Chapman is left wide open. Can't hit the 3. And Phelan goes down along the baseline.
Coach Sarko not happy with that sequence.
I believe the Dolphins wanted a foul call. They did not get it. And we will head to a media timeout with 5 minutes on the clock. Our score at the midway point of the second quarter. Dolphins 20 and the Spartans 19. And we are back from the tank with 5 minutes to play in the first half. Dolphins lead 20-19, and the Spartans quickly take the lead right back.
Well, that's certainly got to be a frustrating play if you're the coaching staff, Joe. Right after the media timeout, it's a quick inbound pass. They find a player underneath the rim, and Stack once again has the lead.
That was Rose Koch, fresh off the bench. Edmonds now, deep 2 on the way, and that's too strong. Ball loose and taken by Rose. Cross-court pass to Ditto for 3. No good that time. And Chapman has the rebound. Chapman on the wing. Feeds it inside to Morrell. Her hook shot off the front rim. And she could not save it after she poked it away from Ditto and Singer.
Morrell had a little bit of a miss, or a disadvantage, or a size advantage, I should say. I keep getting mixed up my words on that one, Joe. But she had the size advantage up inside the paint and just was not able to capitalize there.
I'm getting a bit worked up for a different reason, Nick.
Discombobulated over here.
That's right. You know how much I hate uncooperative technology.
Yeah, not a friend. Not a friend.
Dolphins trail it by 1. Under 4 minutes to play in the first half as Rose gains a step off the fake and converts through the contact. Count the basket and the foul.
And how many times have we seen Kyra Rose over these years, Joe, just, sizing up her opponent inside of the paint, getting the contact and then drawing the foul and gets the N1 right there. Has a chance of a three-point play coming up.
Kyra Rose to the free throw line for CSI. 1 shot after that last made basket. And Rose makes it a 2-point Dolphins lead.
Rose, of course, Joe, a big reason why the Dolphins got that win at Uville. 14 points and 13 rebounds in that game. Big reason why CSI got the win.
Chapman on the wing. Once again feeds it inside to Morrell. From the corner now, Finnegan harassed, and she traveled.
Another turnover right there for the Spartans. That's now 7 in this first half.
You were just flexing that live stats usage.
I'm just trying to help. I know that's a stat you would like to bring up.
You're doing your job.
I'm doing multiple jobs.
It is. You're arguably doing 3 now. But Nick, I'm beside myself.
I
Both
know.
my phone and my computer will not connect to the network.
I haven't checked my phone to see if it works. I'll have to test it next time.
They're all connected wirelessly on the other side, so not sure what's going on. Entry pass to Rose. She's doubled and fouled.
Well, I was talking to you about it this earlier. You know, there was a whole Verizon outage that was happening today, and I had a lot of text messages about it. So I don't know if that has something to do with it or something else. I'm not entirely sure. It's weird. It's weird and it's frustrating.
Well, I'm on the frustrated
Side of it.
Yeah. As Rose goes right to the basket, and she's really exploited the favorable matchup she's had so far in this game.
Yeah, Joe, she's been dynamic so far in this first half. She now, I believe, has 8 points, maybe 10 after that last make.
Finnegan goes to work on Ditto. Rose with the help defense forces a miss. Rebound was pulled in by Angela Williams. And she got it out to Mahaney. Now Jacoby feeds it inside. And it's another travel.
Another one forced by this Dolphins defense. And that's something that they've been really good at this season, Joe, is forcing turnovers and trying to capitalize on the other end. Speaking of capitalizing, you mentioned it before, Rose capitalizing with that size advantage she had right there. Got it right that time.
Well, you know the Dolphins like to see Kyra Rose aggressive, attacking the basket, finishing inside, and getting to the free throw line. This is Kane given room. Can't get that one to go. It rattles out, and the Spartans couldn't secure the rebound.
And I mentioned before, Rose had 14 points at the end of the game against Duville. She's already at 10 in this first half. So it's been an impeccable start for her in a game that the Dolphins would really love to have.
Ditto. In, out, and it stays out. I was ready to say back in again.
Well, we had that
out and out of bounds.
We had that conversation last game about those carnival rims, and that looked like it right there.
Well, we had a lot of conversations during our last women's game. I'll tell you though, Nick, maybe it's not for everybody, but I got a chance to speak to some fans after the game, and they said they really enjoy our back and forth. So if the score gets a bit out of hand, we can still have some fun here at the commentary desk. That pass tipped. And Schutza is way off from three.
And the Dolphins again, well, they had the numbers, but they turned it right back.
The air ball was saved to the Dolphins. They turn it over, and the Spartans capitalize.
That's one they're really going to want to have back, Joe. They would have had a really good number advantage right there, but Schutza going down. But they took advantage. Schutza forced the turnover, and they get the second chance opportunity, if you want to call it that, right there.
Kane. Back to the basket. Size advantage. Can't finish.
Yeah, a little bit too much on that one.
Well, the Dolphins have done a really good job in this game getting favorable switches. And they've had good matchups with players including Rose and Kane going one-on-one with the much smaller Jacoby. And she stood her ground there and defended Kane well. Dolphins left Schutza open, and once again, the Spartans are whistled for traveling.
What was the terminology Nick Durst used for that? Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I was going to say, you're not going to make me say it, are you?
I said it for you.
There you go.
You can see that's updated. It's either 8 or 9 turnovers now, and it feels like, Joe, a lot of those have been off the traveling.
Rose into the corner, and Singer doesn't get the roll.
And Rim not treating the Dolphins well the last couple of minutes.
No, it has not. Chapman, entry pass inside for Finnegan, and she ties the score.
Good job by Finnegan right there. She's had a nice couple of moves inside of the paint in this first half, and as you mentioned, now ties the game. Dolphins will have about a 7-second differential here on this possession.
Kane flips it to Singer. Now Phelan in the corner. Entry pass for Rose. Off the jab step. She can't hit the mid-range jumper. 13 seconds on the clock. Here come the Spartans. Schutza to the basket. And you can count it, and the foul.
Well, on one end of the court, it's not been a friendly bounce for the Dolphins. On the other side, a nice friendly roll right there for Schutza, and gets the and one with a chance to make it a 3-point game.
Foul on Raki Kane, her first personal. Also the team's first.
Yeah. Yeah, look right there at that made basket, and now the made free throw makes it a 3-point game. It's 8.9 to go.
7 seconds on the clock. Singer crosses over, feeds Rose. Rose to the basket, and she ends up on the floor as that shot will not go. We will step aside briefly and be joined by women's basketball head coach Nicole Sarcone for our TLC Physical Therapy halftime report. That's coming up in just a few moments here on CSI Sportsnet.
Yeah, we just got to knock down some shots. We're getting some looks. We're getting the looks we want, and they got to fall. The shots got to fall. We got to shoot them confidently. We got to continue what we're doing on the defensive end and make sure we're knocking down shots on the offensive end.
All right, thank you for the time, Coach. Best of luck in the second half. That is women's basketball head coach Nicole Sarcone joining us for the TLC Physical Therapy halftime report. We head to halftime here at the Tank. Third quarter coming up on the other side of our halftime break.
We've learned a lot from him, and we've probably learned more from him than he's learned from us.
I think they're a real important part in my life. I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team Impact is a national nonprofit that connects kids living with serious and chronic illness with college athletic teams, forming lifelong bonds and life-changing outcomes.
Give me a break it! Break it!
Can I have a hug? What's your favorite subject?
Math.
When you spread the word about Team Impact, you have the power to change lives.
That's a timeout on betting. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to be good teammates and draw the line to stay ahead of betting consequences.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
The NCAA sponsors 90 national championships each year, none of which could happen without officials. There's an urgent need for sports officials across the country, as they are retiring 4 times faster than they are coming in, leaving shortages at all levels of sport. The NCAA recognizes the importance of officiating on the student-athlete experience and is dedicated to the recruitment and retention of new officials for all sports. There are many great reasons to become an official. Stay in shape and get paid to do so. Meet new people and build relationships within a tight-knit community. Give back to the sport you love by creating a fair atmosphere and upholding the integrity of the game. Say yes to officiating. Visit ncaa.org/sayyes-to-officiating for more information on how to get started.
Team Impact, we pair kids who have been sidelined by serious illness and disability with college teams from across the country.
What's up, big man? You good?
It's more than a single-day meet and greet or photo opportunity. Our program places kids on a multi-year journey, becoming true members of a collegiate athletics team.
We are! Penn State!
From signing day to game day,
I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team Impact. All in, all together.
Campuses nationwide, the NCAA is making transformative changes for student athletes. While they pursue their biggest dreams, we're launching new initiatives to help them. Life-changing education opportunities are just the start. The NCAA is providing enhanced mental health services. We're guaranteeing scholarships and tuition and expanding access to healthcare. Visit ncaa.org/change to learn more.
Joe Foreman rejoining you alongside Nicholas Bavona from the tank, where the Dolphins trail at the start of the third quarter, 28-25. And Nick, we have good news. My live stats are back. Wi-Fi issue solved during halftime. Bad news, we missed the front half of our conversation with women's basketball head coach Nicole Sarcone. We'll call that a Verizon problem during our halftime report. But
we're about accountability here, Joe. That was on me. That was on me.
I wasn't going to out you, Nick, but you know
I have to take accountability.
You
for
know
that.
how I appreciate people taking accountability.
Yeah, I have to
for their actions.
It's eating against me right now.
So shame on you, Nick.
Shame on me.
Either way, The Dolphins played well for much of that first half, Nick, and when I began my conversation with Coach Sarcone, the part that our audience missed, I asked her how she felt about her team's defensive effort having forced 9 turnovers in that first half, and I intentionally phrased my question as, were you happy with the effort for much of the half? Because late in that half, things just seemed to slip away from the Dolphins in a matter of moments. They led in that first half. At one point, I believe, by as many as 6. 8-2 was the score to get us started. They never led by more than that, but late in the half, the Spartans came surging back and entered the second half ahead by 3.
Yeah, now I think for this Dolphins team, Joe, you're winning the turnover battle right now. That's great. The issue for them right now so far has been the rebounding. They're trailing this matchup 19-14, so got to figure that out in the second half.
That three-pointer short by Jacoby. Long rebound goes to Edmonds. Rose on the wing, feeds Kane inside. She's double-teamed. And that's a poor pass. Phelan was open. Missed opportunity there for the Dolphins, but they still have 15 to shoot. Phelan off the fake. Can't hit from 3. Edmonds gets a hand on it and pulls in the rebound. Barnes into the corner for Phelan. Out to Kane, 12 on the shot clock. Rose defended by Finnegan. Shoots over the Edmonds screen and can't connect.
Couple chances right there for CSI, but Spartans were able to make sure that not a shot went in. They made it really tough towards the end, and now they have the ball.
Well, the Spartans shot it much more consistently in the first half. As that three-pointer won't go, the Spartans up over 41% in the first, shot nearly 47% in the second. Dolphins 5 of 11 in the first, but just 5 of 16 in the second. As Barnes, with a poor pass, nearly turned it over, and she does.
Yeah, that's something that we saw in our last broadcast, here at least together, when we were calling the game against Post, where the Dolphins would force a couple of bad turnovers right there. And that one was, as you mentioned, a forced pass right there by Barnes.
And when the Dolphins have struggled, they have combined poor shooting with sloppy play and failing to protect the basketball. Typically, if only one of those occurs at a time, they've been able to overcome it. If they're only not hitting shots but play the defense that we know this team is capable of playing, they can typically weather the storm in those situations. But when you get into a spot where you're not hitting shots and you're turning the ball over at a high rate, it's really difficult to do anything in that situation. And you get a quarter like they had in the third last time against Stack. That three-pointer won't go for Finnegan, but the rebound was chased down by Kabashi. Chapman picked up her dribble. Good defense by Barnes to stay on her feet. 10 on the shot clock now. Jacoby looking. Finnegan on the wing. 5 to shoot now. Finnegan off the fake, kicks out, and Kabashi had nowhere to go.
Good job of the Dolphin defense right there. There was really not a clear shot for the Spartans after they got that offensive rebound. And the Dolphins forcing a turnover via the shot clock violation.
What do we call that, Nick? The old grenade at the end of the shot clock. That was a tough spot.
That was the terminology I was trying to phase earlier, but I didn't remember what it was. So that's why I'm glad you mentioned it there.
I'm here to help, just like you helped me on stats. Barnes hits a tough shot off glass. That was a difficult angle to shoot from, and Barnes made it look easy. Jacoby on the wing, 15 on the shot clock. Chapman inside for Kabashi. She's doubled and fouled.
And early on in this half, in the start of this half, Joe, we've seen Kabashi going up against Phelan on the inside. We saw earlier they tried to go with that matchup, but the Dolphins were able to force the ball out of bounds. That time she got it and goes up to the free throw line now after she was fouled.
Well, the Dolphins held Kabashi without any points in the first half as, boy, our camera got dark. Free throw is good. I don't know.
Clear difference.
We're going to have to take a look at that in a minute. I think I might know the reason. Second free throw good. Yeah, that was striking. I saw that on the monitor. I'm like, what happened? I will say the lighting at court level is very, very different than the lighting you get from up top.
Yes.
I'd say up top is pretty close to our view. As Barnes knocks down the jumper. And the Dolphins are within one.
How about that shot right there by Barnes? Creating the space off the dribble, knocks down another long range two.
See if that helps. Any change on the camera, Nick? Because that shot won't go.
Couldn't tell. I was trying to make sure you weren't knock over a wire.
All right. That's always a good task. Meanwhile, the Dolphins get another stop, and we'll have a chance to go in front here. Phelan, nice feed to Edmonds, and she lays it in.
And the Dolphins now regain the lead for the first time in a little bit. Good passer right there, finds Edmonds inside.
Well, the Dolphins coaching staff is looking for that, not just from Phelan, but from all the players out there, as Kabashi lost her shoe and put up an air ball. But those kinds of unselfish plays, and there's another.
And the Dolphins taking advantage because of her finding her shoe, and that gives them a 3-point lead and a timeout call by the Spartans.
And how about Stitchy Barnes flashing the goggles on her way up the floor?
I'll make sure to get that in the highlight once we go to break.
Dolphins lead it.
Tail end.
33-30, 5:54 to go in the third quarter.
Let's see if we get a quick look at it, Joe. Does she get it at the tail end? There you go.
There it is. Dolphins by 3. We'll be right back. And we're back from the tank where the Dolphins lead it 33-30. Just under 6 minutes to play here in the third quarter. And Nick, we solved our, I'd call it cool temperature at one end of the floor. It was a white balance issue. We have to turn that auto white balance off. The TLC backdrop got us. That white backdrop altered our camera's coloring. Meanwhile, just 8 to shoot for Stack. Chapman thought about the 3. Now Mahaney feeds Chapman, and she's short.
Another quote-unquote grenade right there, Joe.
Well, they got a good shot on that possession.
But did the pass did go off with 2 seconds left on the clock?
It's only a grenade if you're not open.
That's fair.
This is Kane.
This match right here.
Oh, Schutza ended up in a dangerous spot there.
Yeah.
Now taken down.
That's a really tough foul for the Dolphins right there, Joe, because before that happened, Kane had Jacoby on her one-on-one, so she would have definitely drove right inside the paint, but Dolphins commit the foul right there.
Well, the Dolphins have done a really good job, as I said during the first half, getting switches into favorable matchups. And we've seen the results of that in this game through the first 25 minutes now. Schutza left open. Can't hit that time. And Rose takes that rebound away from Finnegan. Barnes with it. Feeds Edmonds. Now Phelan on the wing. Uses the Edmonds screen. Barnes in the corner inside for Edmonds. She finds Kane open. And Kane knocks it down.
And you mentioned how dangerous it is, Joe. She starts hitting those outside shots. Another outside shot right there on that long range too.
And you made the point earlier, Nick. It was a possession where the Dolphins didn't get the pass off to the corner. Schutza converts through the contact. And she will head to the line with the and one, her second of the game.
She's had herself a really nice night off the bench, Joe, as we get a second look at that last jump shot by Kane. But Schutza, as you mentioned, has played just 14 minutes in this game. has now 13 points as we go to the media.
And we'll stay here through the media timeout for me to complete the point I was about to make before the Shutza basket. You said it earlier, Nick. The Dolphins got the ball inside. It drew 3 defenders. They had Ditto open in the corner, and we've seen that more than once already. They got the ball inside to Edmonds on that last offensive possession. Kane was open in the corner. Phelan was wide open on the wing as well. So the Dolphins had plenty of options on that sequence, and that time it results in an open jumper for Racky Kane. But throughout this game, if they can't score on the interior, they've then had the option to get the ball out to an open shooter on the perimeter.
And that was one of the points we made earlier, where the Dolphins have had a nice success this year on a good portion where they go inside of the paint. But it forces those defense to crash inside. It forces double teams. And that's where it comes down to the thick of things, Joe, where you have to make those outside shots. And thankfully for the Dolphins tonight, they've made a good portion of those outside shots so far in this game. But now it's going to come down to how do they finish this game, because we've seen a couple of times this season the Dolphins having some struggles in the second half towards the end. They've got to find a way to finish this game up, but still a lot of time to go before that happens.
And when you take a look at the shooting numbers here in the third quarter, the Dolphins 5 of 7, the Spartans 1 of 8. This is a quarter where you feel like the Dolphins really need to make a run and push this lead close to double digits if they can. The Spartans right now are struggling from the field. The Dolphins have been hot. And if they can continue that, you'd like to build a nice lead going into the fourth quarter.
It's like eerily similar, Joe, to that game we called a few weeks ago against Assumption, where the Dolphins had a really good shooting quarter. Assumption couldn't shoot from in that quarter, and the Dolphins got the lead before they went into the fourth.
Free throw by Shutza is good, and that makes it a 2-point game. But to the point I was just making, Nick, that basket by Shutza, the first made field goal of this third quarter for the Spartans. So the Dolphins have gotten it done at the defensive end. If they can continue to shoot well, it should put them in a good position here at home. Rose with it, top of the arc, swings to an open Phelan. Can't hit. Chapman looking ahead. Almost had it poked away by Barnes. Instead, she goes all the way and misses the layup.
Yeah, it looked like she was maybe trying to draw a foul there, but she threw that one up.
Kane battling inside. Can't finish, but she snatches the rebound, goes back up, and will head to the line.
It's honestly incredible, Joe, how she got that rebound, because she did not have the positioning on it as soon as she missed it. But she's the one that comes down with it, and now she's going to the free throw line.
That was some board that she was able to pull in the midst of heavy traffic underneath the basket. Racky Kane to the stripe for 2 shots. And her free throw rattles out.
Yeah, remember what we pointed out earlier, too, that third quarter, the last time the two teams play. The Dolphins went 2 of 8 in that quarter from the free throw line, so got to make sure they can make some here.
And Kane's second free throw is good. Juliana Ditto will check in, replacing Kane. Kabashi will check in as well, replacing Finnegan on the side of Stack. Dolphins pressuring on the inbound, and they force the turnover. Rose feeds Barnes, and she draws a foul.
And immediately right back to the free throw line go to the Dolphins. A good job right there on that full court press. And you mentioned it was really stifling, as a term we like to use a lot when we see that press defense. And there was just nobody open for the Spartans right there.
Here's one more look at that inbound pressure by the Dolphins. And other than sending that ball out toward half court, there was really no opportunity there for Stack to get it in. Meanwhile, Nick, Dolphins miss another free throw.
Yeah.
And Barnes goes 1 for 2.
A little bit of a friendly roll right there to go back to the full court pressure. At 5 seconds.
Well, the Dolphins pressure wreaking havoc right now. I think Nicole Sarcone was seeing what we see, Nick, an opportunity to really build a lead and try and pull away here in the third. And the Dolphins have turned to the pressure to help them do that. So far, it's worked. Barnes throws one through the hands of Rose, and it was last touched by the Dolphins. Or was it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Replay, Nick.
Went to the Spartans, but yeah, that was a very hesitant call on the baseline right there.
Well, nobody appeared confident.
Yeah.
Jacoby racing up the floor, had a step on Phelan, and she was fouled.
Can we get a clearer shot from right here? Let's see.
Well, neither team looked confident. Did Edmonds get a hand on it last? If not, that's Dolphins ball, but really tough to tell.
Yeah, couldn't tell from that.
We approach 3 minutes to go in the third. As that three-pointer's a bit too long by Jacoby. Dolphins have numbers. Edmonds attacks and draws a foul.
Jacoby took a shot right there going up against Edmonds, and she remains on the court. We'll see if she's okay, but you mentioned that Joe, the Dolphins taking advantage once again, going in transition with those numbers.
Well, I was interested to see that even with numbers, did you see where Dana Phelan ended up on that fast break?
Yeah.
Edmonds' free throw, no good. Dolphins 2 of 5 from the line here in the third.
Unfortunately, that's looking eerie, similar to what happened the first time the two teams met.
Well, they call you Nick Stradamus for a reason. You're thinking, nobody calls me that. What are you talking about?
I think only one person calls me that.
And Edmonds goes 0 for 2, but Barnes has the rebound. Ditto feeds Edmonds in the post. And she was stripped. Ball pulled in on court by Cheatham.
Spartans now have numbers.
Schutza could not connect with Kabashi on that pass. It was tipped. Good defensive play by Edmonds.
So the Dolphins now 2 of 6 from the free throw line in the quarter, and now 4 turnovers as well.
Quick passing off the inbound, sets up a corner three and an air ball by Schutza. She got off to a red-hot start, and outside of that last and one. I think she's hit 1 of her last 5.
Yeah, I believe you are correct.
And that was without live stats for the first half, Nick. Now I'm flexing my memory muscle. Dolphins by 4, just over 2.5 to go in the third quarter. 20 on the shot clock. Barnes swings to Phelan. Now Ditto along the baseline. Tight window on that pass. Phelan carry. That's the right call. No question about that one.
Yeah, no question. A turnover, though. That's now 5. And going into the half, Joe, the Dolphins are looking pretty good in terms of turnover number, but that number has now gone up in this just to start off the second half.
Well, they're at 11 now. Spartans at 12, and the Dolphins are winning the turnover battle decisively in the first half.
Is that on me for giving the stats team not enough time by saying the number a little bit early?
Well, you have to look at the play-by-play up top.
That's true. That's true.
That's the difference between I just used live stats for the first time and a pro. As Kabashi knocks down the 3.
Back to a 1-point game. Another 3 in this matchup for the Spartans, and it's been a big reason why they've been able to keep afloat in this game.
Spartans 4 of 12 from downtown. The Dolphins 2 of 9. Dolphins have outshot them now by about 4% for the game, and that's thanks almost entirely to their performance shooting here in the third quarter. 5 of 9 from the field, but you said it, Nick. Free throws plagued them on the road in the third quarter of that first game at Sparkill. Third quarter in this game, 2 of 6 from the line. Phelan in the corner with 15 to shoot. Now Barnes, deep 2 on the way, rolls off. Chapman with the rebound.
Now Stack will have a chance to regain the lead.
Cheatham brings it back outside. Now Kabashi working against Edmonds. Kicks out, Chapman for 3. No good. Rose with it, finds Phelan. Up top for Ditto. Now Barnes. Inside to Rose. Edmonds. Ditto. Splash.
And they got a nice closeout right there, Joe, on the shot contest, but Ditto with another big triple in this game.
Well, the bench has to love that possession, Nick. Dolphins move the ball well. I'm not sure there were more than 1 or 2 dribbles in that sequence. And eventually Ditto connects on the open three. And there is a very blatant travel. And we've seen that a few times as well, Nick.
Yeah. And we'll see another three right there by Ditto, back to a 4-point game. And she's accounted for a couple of threes in this game, Joe, for the Dolphins. She has 2 of their 3 in this matchup.
Well, as a defender, you can't move faster than the ball can. And the Dolphins did well to keep the ball moving there. They made one more pass. Phelan was even more open on the wing. As Barnes converts through contact. Count the basket and the foul.
You just spoke about it before. The Dolphins with great passing on that last possession. Even better, in my opinion, on this possession right here. Barnes was pretty much just left wide open underneath the rim. You'll see at the very tail end, the Dolphins moving the ball around. And at the tail end, they find her wide open. Good outlook pass right there by Rose. And Barnes goes to the free throw line.
When you have a team full of players that are so capable at attacking the basket and finishing inside, they draw a lot of attention on their way into the paint. You get those backdoor cuts against the defense like that, and you find an easy 2 on the other side of that pass. Dolphins very nearly forced another turnover. Instead, they commit their 15th foul, and that will send Kabashi to the line.
This is now the Dolphins' largest lead of the game. You mentioned the 8-2 lead they had earlier. Now, this is their large lead, 43-36.
Kabashi's free throw is good.
You look at the stats as well, Joe. 3 Dolphin players now in double figures. Only 1 player for the Spartans in double figures in this game.
And that one player is Schutza, who has 14 points in 16 minutes. And you and I have had this conversation many times before, Nick, but in games for this women's basketball team where you get multiple players going in double figures, it completely changes the outlook for this team. So often we've seen it where one player carries the bulk of the scoring load. Good ball movement again by the Dolphins. Spartans do well to stay with them. 3 seconds remaining in the quarter as Barnes puts up a 3 and banks it in.
That is the definition of a bank shot right there by Barnes. Buzzer beater ends the third quarter, and what a way this quarter ended for the Dolphins, Joe. The last 3 possessions, great ball movement all around, and it's a buzzer beater 3 to end this third and give CSI now an 8-point lead.
It's 6:44 p.m. on a Wednesday night, and the bank is open for Stitchy Barnes and the Dolphins. They hit their final 2 3-point attempts in that third quarter, and they will take an 8-point lead into the fourth. Our score through 3, Staten Island 46, Stack 38. And we're back from the tank where Nick almost took out our monitor in between quarters.
Well, you have to charge the laptop. We don't want to lose our broadcast.
You pulled it through, and we're not gentle enough. You got to.
Hey, we both saved it.
We got to be a bit more finesse next time. that would have been $85 down the drain immediately. As Rose gets inside and draws the foul,
Hey,
but
credit to Juliana Ditto. She almost saved it too.
Well, shout out to the administration here at CSI, of which I am a part. Not a full-time part, but I came in today to find a nice surprise in the office. All of our new equipment had arrived. That's always nice. Though you couldn't hear all of it, you may have noticed that Nicole Sarcone and I appeared in full 1080p, 60 FPS, high definition, thanks to our new sideline camera. We now have 2 out of our 3 cameras operating at that level. And the one here at this end, though it is not reaching that quality, looks pretty darn good, I'd say.
Yeah.
Watching the game live on Flow College, you really don't see much of a difference between the main camera and the 2 sideline cameras. Now we have a high quality sideline camera as well. I'd say by the start of next year, we'll have 3.
I didn't mean to laugh at Joe. Did you see the end of that free throw? How about that bounce?
It's better to be lucky than good as
Yeah.
Rose goes 2 for 2 from the line.
Now
And
10-point lead.
Nick, so much of this team's success, I think, if you're the Dolphins, comes down to how well Kyra Rose shoots from the free throw line, because she's getting there plenty. She's already taken 5 here in this game and easily could head there a few more times here in the 4th. As that bank shot goes down for Kabashi. Nice feed from the corner by Mahaney.
And that was Rose's first 2 points, Joe, since the start of this half. She had not scored in this half so far and quickly made an impact to start the 4th quarter.
And I think that speaks to what the Dolphins did in that 3rd quarter in terms of ball movement and efficiency. A quarter where Kyra Rose did not score. You put up 21 points as Ditto has another 3-pointer.
Ditto now with her 3rd 3 of this game. The Dolphins just are getting red hot at the perfect time in this game.
Ditto now 3 for 5 from beyond the arc, and the Dolphins are over 40% from downtown. And I don't think it's a coincidence, Nick, that as soon as the Dolphins hit a couple of timely threes, this game completely turned. Jacoby tied up, kicks outside. Now Mahaney on the drive, lays it in.
Spartans trying to keep in this game, now back to single digits, and that's a big bucket right there. They needed that, the way the Dolphins have been shooting.
Well, speaking of timely baskets, that's one right there. Lisi was open and got caught looking. Schutzer off the steal. Can't finish the layup, but the second try is good. And Nick, I think that's the kind of sequence that drives head coach Nicole Sarcone crazy.
Yeah, you can't have a sequence where you're starting to gain momentum and then you turn the ball over, and now Stack's gaining the momentum. They're now down within 7.
Barnes with it. Nearly turned it over as the ball hit off Rose's fingertips. She finds Phelan for 3. No good. Rebound pulled in by Finnegan, who was pressured. And Schutzer will bring it up. Thought the Spartans might call a timeout there. I thought they were waving her over to the bench, but instead she gets a screen.
They do have 3 remaining. The Dolphins have all 4.
Kabashi back to the basket now. Phelan tried to take that one away, and Kabashi goes right at Barnes for the finish.
Well, that was the right play, Joe, by Kabashi, because as you mentioned it, she went right at Barnes, and she had the mismatch right there. So that's going to force Nicole Sarcone to call her first timeout. It's now a 5-point game.
Well, the Spartans, behind a very quick 6-0 run, are back to within 5. The Dolphins led it by as many as 11, but our score with 7 minutes to go, Staten Island 51 and Stack 46. We'll be right back here on CSI Sportsnet. And even 7 minutes on the clock in the fourth quarter from the tank, with the Dolphins now leading 51-46. And Nick, just as quickly as the Dolphins went up by 11, they now lead it by 5. The Spartans have scored the last 6.
Yeah, and it feels like the 6 points that they got were just in a matter of seconds. It was really quickly after the Dolphins went up 11 that it made it a 5-point game.
Kane's jumper is too short. She fights for her own rebound. Finnegan had it, and jump ball was called. Possession arrow favoring the Spartans, but to your point, Nick, the Spartans put together that 6-0 run in 1:52. Maybe a bit less than that, as it included the time that elapsed following the media timeout. So it was quick, to your point. And they have a chance to continue that run with another bucket here.
With a bucket, they can make it a one-possession game as well.
And you and I had the conversation in between quarters, as that three-pointer won't go for Mahaney, that this game could very easily look a lot like the game against Assumption.
And offensive foul.
Does not draw the foul. Wow, I did not think that she drove into the defender, Nick.
Yeah.
What do you think? Run it back. I thought she hop-stepped almost on an angle.
There was a lot of contact, I will say. So I get where the official's coming from, but it's a close call. It's been what her game is.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's
elbow.
a foul. That's 100% a foul. Yeah. Well, Nick, I watched the step, which occurred after the offensive foul.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the right call. Mahaney, bounce pass inside. Finnegan off the fake.
Traveled.
Wow. That's a big call right there as well.
Major call.
2 big ones back to back.
A big break for CSI right there, because it potentially could have been an N1 right there.
Dolphins still lead it by 5, now under 6 minutes to play. Ditto with it. Swings to Phelan. Phelan briefly met with a double. Now Rose. She has the mismatch, Nick. Will try the jumper. Off the mark, but Ditto's there for the rebound. And Ditto was wide open. Still is. Foul occurred before Rose scooped that ball up.
And although she took the shot there, Joe, I think one of the things I would like to see Rose on that play do is, you mentioned the mismatch. If she just drives to the paint, she might have the opportunity to get a lay-in right there on a post move. But
if she drives, Nick, they're going to double her, and a shooter will be open.
Right.
And I think it all comes down to picking where you're going to take that ball inside to set up the shooter that you want open. So you take a brief moment to survey and then immediately have to get to work. Inside of 10 to shoot now. Kane drives.
That's another offensive foul.
That is a clear-cut offensive foul.
That's the second time the Dolphins have had a foul like that, where they try to create the separation with their elbow, but too much separation. And another foul right there.
I think even more so than the elbow on that one. Kane, realizing she had the size advantage, just lowered the shoulder and barreled into her defender. Jacoby for Chapman. And she misses off the front rim as Schutza launched herself like a torpedo into Barnes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of physical activity here to start this quarter, Joe.
Well,
bodies are hitting the floor.
That almost looked like an attempt to just take Barnes down and allow a teammate to get the rebound. There was no teammate there.
Barnes now with 3 fouls. Dolphins at 2. 5 minutes to go in regulation.
Final 5 minutes from the tank. And the Dolphins turn it over for the 15th time. They are now on the negative side of the turnover battle.
And it feels like all those have been in the second half too, Joe.
Most of them have. I believe at half they had 6. They're now at 15. Down goes Barnes, and up goes the fist of the official.
Yes.
Offensive foul.
And head coach Bill Cleary certainly is not happy with that call.
Well, we have to run that one back too, Nick. If we have the close-up view, why not?
I will say the whistle was called a little bit late. I think maybe there definitely was a foul, but it felt like it wasn't called until after the turnover happened, or after the ball was about to be lost.
Yeah, tough to make it out through the bodies, but official had a great view of it, and that's a call that we've seen at both ends now in this fourth quarter more than once. Edmonds out to Phelan. 12 to shoot for the Dolphins. And that is a bad pass by Rose.
And she had the mismatch again. She just didn't take advantage of it. And
yeah, I think if she drives that one left, Nick, you're right. She had a chance to score. There's a good entry pass, and Kabashi couldn't finish. That's a big miss. That would have made it a one-score game. Rose kicks out, and the Dolphins work it around the perimeter.
And that one, that time was smart because she would have went up 2-on-1, and you at least now reset everything and try to set something up.
Phelan on the wing feeds Edmonds inside. And her jumper rattles in.
Another friendly bounce for the Dolphins right there. Nice shot by Edmonds. It's a 7-point game again.
Can you call it a rattle if it goes rim backboard basket?
I guess you could.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
That's a basket the Dolphins needed. It ended a scoreless stretch of nearly 3.5 minutes.
The whole team's really struggling in this fourth quarter now, the last couple of minutes.
In fact, I believe the scoreless stretch was longer than that, Nick.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think we were closing in on 5 minutes because the Trends had the stacked scoreless streak at 3.5. They had not scored since the media timeout, so the Dolphins, therefore, had not scored in, what, a minute 52 prior to the media timeout? So
yeah,
we were looking at close to 6 minutes. First free throw for Schutza is good. And she goes 2 for 2 from the line. Oh, Weezy backed right into her inadvertently.
Like I said, the bodies are hitting the floor right now.
Yeah, have to cue the drowning pool.
Yeah.
I know you know that song.
Of course.
Other wrestling fans probably do as well.
I would say an iconic song of the early 2000s.
Yeah. Rose doubled off the entry pass, and she kicked it over the baseline.
Tough turnover right there for CSI. And something to also point out, Joe, late in this game, the foul trouble I want to point out for Edmonds, she's had 4 fouls. For the other side, Chapman, she leads the team in fouls with 4. So something to point out just late with about 3 minutes to go in this game.
Well, Nick, to put it bluntly, this fourth quarter for the Dolphins has been a mess in terms of the turnovers. They've now committed 7 here in the fourth. Chapman out to Mahaney. Now Jacoby in the corner. Entry pass, Kabashi. She goes up on Edmonds and once again can't finish from in close.
She had a good move towards the bucket too, but it's just not been a friendly roll on this side for Stack, and now they're starting to struggle from the floor.
Well, you could make the case that Kabashi has left 4 points off the board here in the fourth. She's been point-blank range twice.
And we saw when the Dolphins were shooting on that side of the court too, Joe. That rim was not being very friendly.
That's a good point. Edmonds banks it in from the free throw line.
Bank's still open, I guess. Edmonds knocks down that jumper.
Well, if the bank closes at 7, Edmonds came in 1 minute ahead of closing time. Dolphins by 7 now with just over 2 minutes to play. And despite the turnovers, Nick, the Dolphins now lead the quarter 11-10.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, Joe. I think it comes down to this term where if you can't win the game pretty, you might as well try to find a way to win it ugly, because it's been an ugly fourth quarter for CSI.
Well, I misspoke. They don't lead it yet. The statisticians, once again, too good for me. As the corner 3 won't go for Jacoby, and a foul is called against the Spartans. That's their
5.
5th.
Yeah.
Well, now the Dolphins have a chance to take a lead in the quarter, but in any quarter where you turn it over 7 times, that is a cause for concern. Nick, I think once again the statisticians were too good. It's 6 turnovers, not 7. So they are so quick that they're causing me
not
to
giving them
misspeak.
enough credit, I guess.
It's too bad we're not able to cut that from the broadcast. I don't make mistakes. As Edmonds hits the free throw.
I believe the last foul was on Kabashi. That is indeed the case. She's now at 4.
She was in foul trouble early, had a couple of quick ones. As Edmonds goes 1 for 2. Weezy snatches the rebound.
And she's fouled.
And the Dolphins getting to the line behind pure determination and grit right now. And was that on Kabashi, Nick?
I don't think it was.
Because she's headed to the bench, but I think you're right. Let's see how
it was
good
on
the statisticians are.
She was around the rebound when it happened, so I think it was on her.
Well, statisticians weren't good enough to get that foul in immediately. There it is. It was on Jacoby.
That's her 3rd. More importantly, 2 big free throws right there by Weesey. Dolphins are back up double digits with 1:52 to go.
Well, Nick, who's our player of the game if the Dolphins
That
do
is a
hold on?
great question.
You know they're going to ask us in a minute or two, so we have the media time now to talk it out.
I think I go Barnes.
Yeah, I think Barnes has the best overall stat line. Has
Yeah.
Barnes been the player of the game already?
I don't think so. Now, do I put Stitchy in the thing if it holds on?
You do. I think we did have Barnes once before already. I'm fairly certain we did.
We more than likely did. I'm trying to remember. Was our last one Racky on the buzzer beater?
Yeah. Who haven't we had at all?
Could make Ditto the case because Ditto has played a big factor with her bench
Yeah.
points. If not for her threes, this could be a completely different ballgame.
They could send both over.
I'm sure they're going to ask you in just a few short moments.
It won't be long, I'm sure.
But before they get to that point, Dolphins need to find a way to close out this remaining 150.
Spartans trail by 10, and they need to work quickly here in the closing minutes. Jacoby outside for Finnegan. Shutza for 3. Too strong as she ends up on the floor again.
Jacoby fouls Phelan, so that's now her 4th.
Dolphins have been frequent visitors to the free throw line here in the second half. These 2 free throws will be free throws 14 and 15.
I believe they just messaged you, Joe.
I think I can tell that this send both. And Dana Phelan's on the board for the first time tonight.
Try to make sure if the graphic's right and make sure I don't spell the Stitchy wrong.
Phelan 1 of 2 from the stripe. 90 seconds to go. Well, you know when the text comes through that our table believes the Dolphins have the win secured. Will the Spartans have something to say about that? Mahaney right to the basket, can't finish on the reverse. And it does not look like the Spartans will be too aggressive here.
Barnes now with her 6th rebound in this game. Not only has been a benefactor of some good assists, but she's been around the glass. She now leads the team in rebounds.
Well, I think our audience, if they didn't know already, as the Dolphins turn it over, they know you listen to Clyde Frazier call games with the use of benefactor.
Yeah. It wasn't even intentional.
That attempt inside won't go, but the second try will.
9-point game now, but as you mentioned, Joe, just not enough time for the stack in this matchup. And speaking more importantly about it, this is a big win for CSI now. They'll even their conference record, and more importantly now, have sole possession of 5th place.
Weesey over to Barnes. Dolphins wisely taking all the time that they can. There's the grenade, and Phelan puts up an air ball. Well,
there's the grenade.
You'll fall on one at the end of the game if it means a 9-point conference win at home.
Yes.
Shutzer will bring it up. I'm sure Stack will put one more bucket up on the board. It's Jacoby, and she's short as Edmonds goes down. Tie up.
Eyes are still falling.
And I think the Dolphins may get credited with a late rebound as the final buzzer sounds and the Dolphins win it. Our final score, Staten Island 59, St. Thomas Aquinas 50. And I think we are going to have 2 guests post-game. Juliana Ditto and Stitchy Barnes will join me out on the floor. We'll get a chance to speak to them in just a minute. That is coming up next when we come back here on CSI Sportsnet.
All right, we are back for our TLC post-game report. My broadcast partner, Joe Foreman, is joined on the court by our TLC Physical Therapy players of the game, Stitchy Barnes and Juliana Ditto. Take it away, Joe.
And we're joined on the floor by our TLC Physical Therapy players of the game, Juliana Ditto and Stitchy Barnes. And Juliana, we'll start with you. A couple of big threes during that run in the second half. How did you find the openings in the defense?
Just my teammates being able to draw the defense, and they have confidence in me to shoot it, and so do my coaches, so that really helps me make it and keep shooting even if I'm not making it.
And Stitchy, you have the rare responsibility of being both a scorer and a facilitator for this team. You were able to draw in that defense quite a bit and find your open teammates. How did you feel the ball moved in this game from all of your teammates, and how did you feel you did as a facilitator?
Honestly, I think this is the best we moved the basketball in a while. We've been struggling with it sticking, so we finally got ourselves moving, got the ball moving, and it gave us open looks. And as for myself, I've been learning how to balance being a scorer and a facilitator. But always being a scorer and in that goal mode allows for the defense to draw to me so I can get it to my teammates too.
And Juliana, this team beat you when you faced them on the road earlier this season. How good did it feel to get that win back here at home?
So good, because we deserve to win, we deserve to beat them, and it's our home court.
So I just asked Juliana how good it felt to get this win back. What can we expect from this team moving forward? Just one non-conference game left. It's mostly ECC games the rest of the way.
It's just time to go. We got to go. It's now or never. This team, we've come a long way since preseason, and we've been working really hard, so y'all can expect to see us continue working hard.
All right, thank you to both of you, Juliana Ditto and Stitchy Barnes, our TLC Physical Therapy players of the game. Dolphins knock off the Spartans here at home. Nick, back to you.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you to our players of the game, Stitchy Barnes and Juliana Ditto. Dolphins get a much-needed win here at the Tank. They win this game, a huge one, to now improve their conference record to 3-3. In just a few short moments, my broadcast partner, Joe Foreman, will rejoin me for our final thoughts of this game. Dolphins get the win, and Joe, you just spoke to both Ditto and Barnes, but this was a really important win for this ball club. You mentioned just one non-conference remaining game for the Dolphins, but everything else is conference games as well for this opponent. So getting this win tonight was big. Now they have some work to do down the stretch of the season and trying to make sure they make the ACC playoffs.
And Nick, there's no doubt that this win was huge for the Dolphins against a team that has already beaten you this season. And I think that when you come back on your home floor having already lost to a team, I don't want to say there's a sense of urgency this early in the season because there's still plenty of conference basketball left to be played. But if you're the Dolphins, I think you understand that if you're going to be a serious contender in the ECC this year, this is a game that you had to win. A team that came in 4-12, a team that you very easily could have beaten on the road last time you faced them, despite what I think by all metrics was not a great performance for them in that game. I think knowing that you still could have come away with a win to get a second chance here at home, you need to find a way to pick up that victory, and the team did just that. They took care of business here tonight. Stitchy Barnes said it. The ball moved really well, and Juliana Ditto mentioned something that we spoke about throughout the game. When her teammates got inside and drew the defense, she was able to find openings on the perimeter. She made the most of those, and her teammates, such as Stitchy Barnes, able to find her for those open looks, and I think I have to agree with Barnes.
Yeah.
It was a really good-looking effort for the Dolphins in terms of ball movement and facilitating in this game. And I think the coaching staff is going to be generally pleased with this game. The turnover number got ugly in the second half, but if you can clean that up and continue this kind of ball movement, I think things are looking up for this team moving forward.
Well, I mentioned at the end of the game, Joe, if you can't win the game pretty, got to find a way to win the game ugly at the end of the day. It wasn't a great fourth quarter for this team, but they found a way to win the game. And some of the games, unfortunately, from the Dolphins in the second half have gotten away from them. This time, it did not. Great third quarter shooting-wise. They got a lot of big shots to start the fourth quarter before their little slump hit. And now they get the big win. They now go into their next game after that. I believe that is against Mercy coming up in their next matchup on the road. So getting that win before going back on the road is huge for this ball club, and we'll see how they try to go into that matchup against the Mavericks.
I think the big question that remains, Nick, is do I take a trip up to Dobbs Ferry this weekend?
Maybe.
We'll see. It is certainly possible, but for now, Nick and I will sign off. Coming up next, men's basketball takes on St. Thomas Aquinas College. The men will also be looking to avenge a loss against the Spartans from earlier this season. That game was a thriller, and we can just hope for more of the same here tonight. Nick and I back on the air in approximately 10 minutes from now, so tune in right here on Flow College. And Nick and I will rejoin you for the men's game coming up next.